Hey, yo, yo, yo. It's the ugly truck driver. I want you to see this. This is called Chemtrail. This is an 11-minute movie made by somebody else. But I want you to understand that a week ago or so, as my son and I were coming back after I picked him up from work down here in Augusta, Georgia, we witnessed the same thing. And of course, some people say, well, it's just condensation from contrails. But the problem is there's a difference on how these things last, how these things spread, how these things fall to the earth. I'm going to play this video for you because it's happening all over the United States. And you need to be aware of it. Get your head out of your butt. Wake up, smell the bullshit, and drink your coffee.
Okay, this information has been given to me by a person I've known for 6 months, and he's proven to be highly credible in the past. And he is reporting that he's got information from an actual chemtrail geoengineering engineered aerosol pilot who is inside these programs. So this is new information. You can also find this posted on geoengineeringwatch.org, Dane Wigington's site. The rest of this, I'm just going to read the posts that record his contact with this pilot. All right, December 8th, 2014. My cousin, who was fired by our dictator just before making rank withheld, sent me information given to him by a friend who is still an Air Force pilot. This pilot is saying that he flies chemtrail flights. This pilot told my cousin that this global geoengineering effort goes by the name of, quote, Indigo Skyfold, unquote. At least within the circle of pilots and aviation crews that he works with, they are told to fly specific routes, and satellite comm links control the aerosol dispersal patterns. He says that they only make course corrections from time to time and perform landings and takeoffs. Pilot, navigation, and maintenance crews are rotated constantly and only spend about 18 months at one given base. He states that this is to keep pilots and their families from making too many friends and ending up with loose lips. Plus, they also rotate between day and night flights, one base for daytime flights and one for night. Each base covers a 250-mile zone, and each fleet squadron of planes cover 3 states, or an even larger swath of ocean. They are told to simply do their job and shut the F up. Their superiors will only tell them it's a matter of national security and, quote, without these flights, our enemy's newest technological weapons of war could easily penetrate America's airspace at will. We are dedicated and committed to keeping our allies safe from the same skyward threats, so we extend the arm of protection to those countries who support our efforts. Hostile nations are also building atmospheric shields while in the same discourse, trying to explore weaknesses in our ever-developing air and space-based technologies, unquote. Sounds more like a PR statement to me. I think this pilot either believes what he is told or he is simply trying to sugarcoat their genocide project. December 8, 2014. My firewall detected multiple intrusion attempts when I Googled the Indigo Skyfold code as well. Zero information found on the internet for this operation. That is unique. I received a rather lengthy reply from the chemtrail pilot. Here is that text from his or her email. First of all, I would like to say I do not agree with my mission assignments, but what soldier ever truly does? Several of us have considered bucking the ranks and going AWOL from time to time. We are kept in the dark when it comes to getting honest answers about what we are really spraying. Should they discover that we or our families are actively inquiring about your so-called chemtrails term, then automatic and swift disciplinary action will be taken. HARP and radar are 2 other non-allowed research subjects. Unless our children are learning about these in base schools, we cannot educate ourselves or our children through any public tutoring system. I would not intentionally spray my children or family with toxic aerosols, but as you must know, 80% or better do not have any family or children. Indigo pilots are chosen from the top ranks within the Air Force, Navy, and Coast Guard. Most of the pilots are, quote, hardened to humanity, unquote, and could care less about killing off unwanted or leeching aspects of America and the world. I swear to you, the majority of the pilots are like machines. I call them tanker terminators. I should not be telling you this, but nearly 1/3 of all flights are being orchestrated from small unnamed islands, where newly constructed bases are being built at a rate of 8 per year. On these extremely remote islands, there are HARP arrays of every possible design, with many arrays surrounding these islands within the depths of the ocean itself. The Navy has developed sophisticated underwater construction technology that allows fully autonomous robot submersibles to travel great distances and even manufacture parts for these massive underwater arrays as they progress across the open sea floor. Every time that you see or hear about military exercises at sea, they are basically there to give support and resupply their army of underwater robotic minions. There is possibly one aquatic robot per plane, and will soon be double that. You will never be able to Google Earth search any of this, other than an occasional error in blurring some island bases or smudging images of underwater arrays. It is impossible to locate all these artifacts. They even paint fake clouds over some of our island installations to keep prying eyes away. I have been shown some of these images by civilian friends. That is the reason I know this. I completely understand your concern for human safety. But here is the kicker. We are shown videos in our training of catastrophic destruction to our homeland by very sophisticated weapons. Then told that these will be the consequences if we don't fly. Our efforts in building a defensive atmospheric weapons shield are the only missions of its kind in the world. We are paid more than any other pilot for our service, other than Air Force One pilots, who make as much or more and are kept in a dark secret world for their own protection. They tell us that secrecy is our protection and not to listen to any public rhetoric. We all know about cyber program Flashpoint, or FP-03, as it is known within the veteran community. This program is a self-destruct sequence that can be remotely activated from any ground, water, underwater-based, or other air mobile unit. The signal is encrypted through 3 satellites and cannot be jammed or blocked. At any given moment, you could have only 15 seconds to make your peace with your God. They tell us that FP exists to keep planes from accidentally going down in heavily populated areas. They can remotely detonate our planes over safe zones, but in the back of your minds, our minds, we are pretty sure this is a fail-safe program to keep pilots from turning over assets to any public, private, or civilian authorities. Have you ever seen any member of the crew survive the few crashes that have occurred? Every plane that has gone down was completely destroyed for good reason, I'm sure. We risk our lives in more ways than one every single time we fly, especially night flights. They are ordering us to fly at lower and lower altitudes. We feel like massive Dark Force Empire crop dusters, and know that one night Bubba or Billy Joe will fire their long rifles at us when we spray their moonshine-making operation or pass over an illegal Mary Jane crop. I know for a fact that some planes have been shot at and subsequently brought down by mostly Russian, Chinese, and Korean weaponry. But the media will never cover these events, as they are not allowed to report on our flights either. That must be true, for I have yet to see a detailed or in-length report of our missions on any public venue, other than conspiracy shows and anti-government websites. I risk everything for disclosing so much information, and you will find very few like me. Even my own flight crew, would have me arrested and court-martialed if they knew of this dialogue. That is why I cannot email you directly. But from what your cousin tells me, you are also risking everything just to get this information out to your colleagues. I salute you, sir, for standing up to the establishment and Big Brother. I would love to go home tomorrow and not rack up one more single minute of flight time except for a sweet little Piper Cub or a rat-tailed barn racer. I miss those beautiful blue skies from my youth, and I am ashamed for hazing over that dream. Maybe more of my fellow pilots will read or hear about this and decide to come forward as well. I only know a small fraction of the larger picture, as they compartmentalize everything. Should I become aware of any new significant developments, I will email your cousin. And now this is the man I have contact with. He says, he senses a wavering within the ranks and feels that a kind of mutiny is being boiled to the surface of this whole geoengineering global whitewashing, if you catch my drift. My cousin still has friends in high places too, so he is helping to protect the pilot. This came December 11. Last word from the pilot was, quote, all pilots on leave are required to report to their CO by December 15th for special training operations to qualify for Indigo Phase 2 flights, expected to be initiated by January 21. Those were his words, not the actual Air Force message. He wanted me to stress that. He believes that the focus of their flights will be moved to areas east of California and Texas in order to progress the drought further into the heartland. Plus, he feels that a very new, extremely toxic chemtrail mix is going to be sprayed using new technology that makes these special chemtrails completely invisible. Atmospheric shield of protection. He doesn't believe that either. So that's the end of the message from this chemtrail pilot. And I just, from my own experience, I've had a lot of contact with this guy for 6 months via the internet, and basically everything he's told me has turned out to be true, so I have no reason to doubt any of this. So, hope you can forward this. This also points out how difficult it is to fight this program, because the people inside the program are not subject to public opinion or public information sources. So we need to brainstorm and come up with a way to shut down this program, as it is actually heating the planet and killing everything with elevated UV and toxic metals. Thank you for listening. Okay, this information has been given to me by a person I've known for 6 months, and he's proven to be highly credible in the past.
You see that? That's Augusta, Georgia, about 2 weeks ago, after I picked up my son Maxwell from work. It's right near the Augusta Regional Airport. Some people want to make fun of it, and we weren't out there to follow up what happened afterwards. But you can find videos on YouTube where strange snow has fallen in Georgia. And if you put a Bic lighter underneath it, it won't even melt. And I've been made fun of because I sit there and say, you know what? This stuff is really happening. I asked Max while I was driving to take pictures of this. And the thing that you need to understand is if you look at the, quote, contrails, unquote, they're not your typical high altitude, cold weather, hot engine emissions from a turbofan jet. They hang in the air, they have curly cues on them, and slowly drift to the earth. And people say, Brock, you're crazier than crap. Oops, one too far. But you know what? If you look real close at those, quote, vapor trails, unquote, you will notice the difference between what used to be what we called a contrail from a jet engine, even the old prop jobs in World War II, the B-17s, the B-24s that used to bomb over Germany. These contrails are nothing like what you used to see way back when. Yeah, they call me a conspiracy theorist. Some people say I'm a loon. Some people say I'm crazy. Some people say I'm full of BS. But you know what? Why don't you go ask people like Alex Jones, InfoWars, The Blaze, what the heck's his name? About government deceit. The fact that a lot of this stuff that comes down has radiation in it. It's designed to affect where you live, crops, crop growth, stuff like that. And they call us crazier than poop. Glenn Beck, that's the guy I was trying to think of, Glenn Beck. I remember about a year ago, one of these talking heads on a radio show was talking about our government. Somebody called in and wanted to talk about the Illuminati and about Agenda 21. I'm trying to, oh, my mind is killing me. Sean Hannity. That's who it was, Sean Hannity. And had some questions about stuff like that. And as soon as the subject was brought up, they were cut right off the air, mid-sentence. Okay. I might be a conspiracy theorist. I look at guys like Jesse Ventura, former governor of, what was it, Wisconsin, I think, in his TV show he used to have. Trust me, Jesse Ventura is not my most favorite buddy after what he did with Chris Kyle in that lawsuit. But he gives you a lot of stuff to think about. And 20 or 30 years ago, I'd have said all these people are just crazier than batshit. And you go look and see what our government's doing today. Really. What the hell is it? The TTP, or TPP, Trans-Pacific, whatever thing about big business and government, our Federal Reserve. Oh, God. Yeah. Stuff I used to sit there and I'd say, these people are crazier than crap. The Bilderbergs, the Illuminati. Oh, my God. You know, make your pick. And then you got to sit there and say, really? What woke me up, and I know it sounds crazier than batshit, was Glenn Beck when he put up his video about Agenda 21 in the United Nations and what the world the Federal Reserve, the Bilderbergs, the Illuminati are out to decrease the population of the world by like, I don't know, 80, 85%. And then I see the laws that they're trying to pass, the control, firearms control. People like me, you know, veterans, patriots, anti-gun types are marked for death. And then in the town that I live in right now, I look in the sky and I see these, quote, contrails. And they're not the kind of contrails we used to see from the old airplanes. These things hang in the sky for hours and hours and hours. And I can't find a video right now on YouTube about a black guy that was here in Georgia. There was a snowstorm. He went outside, he picked up some of this snow, said he had a hard time packing it, and sat there and said, "This ain't snow," because he lit a match to this white fluffy crap and it wouldn't melt. Then he went and got an ice cube, lit a match to it, and you could watch it drip. I keep asking myself, has the world gone crazy? Has the world gone insane? Here in America, I mean, I don't give a flying fig about Europe, Middle East, South Pacific, the rest of that. But our own government's trying to kill us, one way or the other? I don't have all the answers. I just ask the questions. But I just presented to you stuff that you need to stick in the back of your mind the next time you see a talking head on television or read an article in some newspaper or magazine somewhere. Because you know what? We Americans are being led like sheep to the slaughter, and nobody has a clue. I mean, you can do that whole thing about those big radio towers up there in Alaska, a couple other places, sitting there trying to modify the weather. You can find it there on YouTube. And like I said, 20 or 30 years ago, I'd have said you're crazier than batshit. I'm 68 years old. I don't know how many years I got left on the earth till God calls me home. But I sit there and I see where George Orwell's book, 1984, which was written, what was it, back in the late 40s, early 50s, then made into a movie, how the government, it doesn't matter whether it's America or any other place or the United Nations, the government's trying to control you from cradle to grave. And you're asleep at the switch. And I'm a conspiracy freak. I'm stupid. I don't know Jack Diddley squat. Okay. Well, I've presented one issue out of many to keep me awake at night. Why don't you go think about this? And then prepare yourself. You know, people that they call preppers. Preppers have it right, because when the shit hits the fan, we want to survive. Just the truck driver's opinion. Pass it on if you're feeling good about it. Catch you later. Bye-bye.